The 4th of July is supposed to be an all-American and all-Americans celebration. But some new polling we'll share with you right now offers some fascinating and, yes, some troubling insights on our nation's deeply polarized political divide. Get this, a majority of Americans see their government as corrupt and rigged against them. Nearly half of Americans say they feel more and more like a stranger in their own country. And look at this. Nearly 3 in 10 Americans overall agree it may be necessary at some point soon for citizens to take up arms against the government. 45% of those who describe themselves as strong Republicans feel that way. 35% of independents do. And 21% of strong Democrats say, yes, it may be necessary soon to take up arms against their government. This poll was conducted for the University of Chicago Institute of Politics. 2 of the best in the business, you see them right there, Republican Neil Newhouse and Democrat Joel Benenson, collaborated on this project. They are with us live now. Neil, I want to start with you because the most alarming number in that it may be necessary to take up arms, the entire number is alarming. 28% of Americans overall, but 45% of people who identify as strong Republicans. Nearly half of people who identify as strong Republicans say it may be necessary to take up arms against.
The government is corrupt and rigged against people like me. 66% of Republicans, 46% of Democrats. Wow.
Against their own government. Where does that come from?
Well, I mean, these are stunning results. I mean, they really are. When Joel and I embarked on this, I mean, we put together the questionnaire, we knew the mood of the country was not positive, but it is so much worse than we thought it was. And so you look at that question on taking up arms against the government, you know, it's 45% of strong Republicans, but John, it's 33% of NPR listeners, 26% of very liberals, 37% of those with guns in their households. It really demonstrates the extraordinary polarization in the country right now, and there's a pandemic of mistrust between Americans and their government and their media.
And so, Joel,
the thing is, their solution is yelling at people that they're stupid, as opposed to, like, you know, providing material benefits so people actually feel like they're getting served.
I was reading this and thinking about the disaffection we saw going back to the Perot campaign in 1992, where people thought, the government didn't get them, didn't understand globalization. These findings seem to tell me people think the government is out to get them, doesn't just understand them, but is somehow after them. The government is corrupt and rigged against people like me. 66% of Republicans agree with that, 46% of Democrats. I generally trust our elections to be conducted fairly and accurately counted. 56% of Americans agree with that, but 4 in 10 Americans.
Wow. 4 in 10 Americans think that our elections are not counted fairly? This country is falling apart, man. That number is unsustainable. These numbers are insane. 62% of Republicans think it's rigged. This is not sustainable, bro. This is not sustainable, man.
Americans overall disagree with that. And you see among Republicans, 62%, 41% of independents. Disaffection, disillusionment, what's the word for it, and how do you fix it?
Well, look, I think it has to do with partisanship in the media they consume. If you look beyond some of those top line numbers and consider the fact that, since the year 2000, Republicans have held the White House for 12 years, with Bush 8 years, Trump 4 years, Democrats so far only 10. Since the beginning of this century. What are they watching and hearing that make them think that elections aren't free and fair? We've had Republicans control the Senate a significant number of times since 2000, and they are winning elections. So I really don't understand how this can be anything other than misinformation and disinformation coming from the media that they consume most assiduously. Which tends to be Fox News and some other websites that tilt very strongly to appeal to conservative voters. And when you look at ideology on the people who say government is rigged against them, it's not only highest among conservatives, 66%, but when you look inside the data a bit, you're going to see it's very high among white men. The group that most sociologists and analysts would say are the people who benefit the most at society. But for some reason, white male conservatives feel very aggrieved.
Well, so Neil, Joel brought up the point.
But hey, John, wait a second. At the same point in time, 51% of very liberals feel the same way. It's too easy to kind of pin this on on Republicans versus Democrats. It is across the board. They're feeling like this.
Well,
and it is these.
I agree with the Republican pollster here because, like, the lib is like, oh, it's a Republican problem. What's actually happening is, except for the upper middle class, the United States of America is failing, and the rich, obviously. That goes without saying. For the bottom 80% of this country, it's not working. If you're an upper middle class person, you're doing good. But if you're not, at least that, or you don't have access to a family rooted in that, you're fucked.
This is sobering data.
Right. So this is the way we resolve these things. You have two guys on TV who know what they're doing, politely talking about it. This is the way it should be done. But that's not what's happening. That's not what you're seeing in the country, which is part of the problem. To Joel's point, what voters think the people who create news content are trying to do. Essentially, what am I thinking when I come to work every day? 37% of Americans think we are here to present facts. But 48%, that's half. That's nearly half of Americans think that most people creating news content are trying to get their own views across. And then again, as people gather for 4th of July parades and barbecues over this weekend,
48% is
what voters
right.
believe is the root of disagreement on political issues. 35% say, oh, that's an honest disagreement. We just disagree. Should taxes be higher or lower? Where should regulations be? But 50% believe, Neil, it's from misinformation. How do we get people out of their silos to listen to the other side?
That's not the problem. I've heard I've heard them. You want to hear the other side? Here, I'll show you the other side. Here's the other side. You want to see the other side? Here they are.
That is mass murder. That is mass murder. It happens here every day.
This is one of the last places in the South where you can legally get an abortion.
It's your body. We are still free here in North Carolina. We are still free.
But that doesn't mean it's easy. Advocates say they're up against well-funded organizations that are using religion and misinformation to intimidate and harass patients.
You don't think it's traumatic jumping at someone's car as they're coming to a medical appointment? You think having an abortion is trauma? You're being traumatic to them.
You're walking right into the gates of hell.
As volunteers stand on the front lines to create a safe space for patients, anti-abortion protesters are buying up.
I've never heard these guys before. I've never heard the other side. I've heard the other side. That's why I want to fight them. They haven't heard shit.
Property around their clinic.
You literally can have 1 foot on our property and 1 foot on their property. That's how close we are.
They're not just testing the limits of physical boundaries. For years, this group was pushing the boundaries of what's allowed under charitable law.
Mr. Reeder, why are you still collecting charity donations when your license was denied last year?
We're in North Carolina to find out how people are organizing to defend abortion rights in the South and how anti-abortion protesters are growing emboldened by the day.
Because you are the bait of Satan. You are the child of the devil. And the devil does nothing but lie.
It's not a baby till it's born, Arlene. It's not a baby till it's born.
No harassing.
Young woman, come get some help.
No. She literally saw your pamphlet and chose not to come down here.
Shannon coordinates volunteers at one of the busiest abortion clinics in the Southeast for protesters.
Go this way. Come on, you got this. There's some days I do not want to come out here because I'm not emotionally ready for what's going to happen when I'm out here.
Young woman, you don't have to go in there. There's real help out here.
Do you not think there's real help in there?
This is the next frontier of the anti-abortion movement in America. Protesters skirting already weak laws around access in order to prevent clinics from providing services.
They are not a part of the clinic, ma'am. They are not a part of the clinic. Just come on in.
Most of these protesters are representing a charity called Love Life. It's an evangelical Christian charity that was founded by a group of men who say they have more of a place in this debate than anyone else.
Men show up, because the truth is that this is more of a man's issue than it is a woman's issue.
That's Justin Reeder, the president and founder of Love Life. In 2017, he vowed to shut down this clinic.
Everyone's going to know about Latrobe Drive. Because when this place closes, not if, but when, we're going to buy the building.
The group has come extremely close to making good on that promise. In 2018, Love Life purchased the property right next to the abortion clinic, and they've used that space to their tactical advantage. Take a look at this aerial view. The clinic is here. Right next to it is the admin building, and right next to that is Love Life's property.
People are listening to Google Maps and it just see the person, see this, and think that's, and turn left into it. And once they get them there, we can't get on this property. You can pull over if you want to talk. You can't block the street.
During filming, we watched as a patient wandered from the parking lot and appeared to be confused about where she was supposed to be going. She did not speak English.
No, let's come with me. Come on, Clinica. Clinica, no.
Do not touch her.
No,
Do not touch someone. No, ma'am. No, they're not with the clinic. No clinic.
In the confusion, she was led to a mobile crisis pregnancy center parked outside the clinic.
She was aware she was here for an abortion. No, she wasn't. Did you specifically specify that abortion services are at that clinic? Did you tell her that? Thank you.
Ellas no están con la clínica. La clínica.
We're just ensuring that. Thank you.
We later asked Vicky Kasorg, the Love Life member who ushered the young woman onto the bus, if she wanted to talk about exactly what kinds of help they were offering.
I see what happens whenever we talk. So
what happens?
Well, the words are twisted, cut and pasted, and turned to suit an agenda, and I don't want to be a part of that. So thanks so much. You can go to lovelife.org though if you want to find out about us.
Yeah, I mean, you're the best person to ask, I think, because you guys are out here representing Love Life. What kinds of resources do you offer for women?
Go to lovelife.org. It's all there.
It's not. What are the resources specifically that you offer for women?
Sorry.
You know, it's like typically with these kind of like websites, there's like a bandwidth thing. You know, there's like bandwidth charges. So like if you get like a lot of clicks on these websites, it can cost them money. You know, it can cost them ad money. It can cost them bandwidth money. Just like refreshing constantly the website and just calling more data, opening all the links, opening and looking at it, all that is definitely something that can happen. What are their services? Pastors? I don't see any services. Hear, pray, go, connect.
Thanks for taking the time to check out Love Life. You might be asking the question, what is Love Life? Love Life is a ministry that exists to unite and mobilize the church to create a culture of love and life that will result in an end to abortion.
Wait, is it struggling? Oh no, what happened? What happened? Did Love Life go down by accident? Oh no, they didn't have enough bandwidth. He gave them a hug of death. Oh no, did they get aborted? Oopsie. All right, that's a clip. Let's keep going.
I don't want to speak to you. Sorry. Have a good day, though.
A spokesperson later told us they primarily work with the churches, maternity houses, and other third-party resources to support moms-to-be. But defender Christina, who when she became pregnant as a teen was put through a similar program, believes they might be misleading patients to achieve their end goal.
All they have to do is put you away from the clinic. If you are teetering
such a majority
on...
can't handle 1,000 people going on their site at once. It probably wasn't even that. It was probably a couple hundred. Like, I didn't even link it in chat. These are just dead fucking... These are astroturfed movements funding psychos.
Being at the point where you could be turned away because you're too far along, and they get you pulled away from the clinic, and then it's a week to schedule a sit-down lunch meeting with them.
Look at this waste,
a
man.
couple days for you to process this, and 72 hours to get you back into the clinic. And before you know it, you're past the period where you're allowed to access abortion in your state. They've won. They've got what they wanted.
Massive amounts of money are funding these operations. Love Life reported over $2 million in donations in 2021. Almost $1 million of that went toward salaries, including to people who stand out here to protest.
These are the literal paid protesters, chat. That all the Republicans, you know how they accused the George Soros paid protesters? You know that, chat? You know how they do that? It's all projection every time. Every time.
Baby, like all human beings, is made in God's holy image. And he has a plan and a purpose for you, and a plan and a purpose for that person.
Calla Hales oversees 4 abortion clinics in Georgia and North Carolina, including this one. Within the last few weeks, Calla says Love Life has cut down trees next door, which means their loudspeaker sermons are even easier to hear.
We're in the front of the admin building, but it is this clear because there are no trees anymore, just as clear next door in the actual clinic itself. Like, patients can always hear this.
They need. Let's just praise God right now with his worthiness and his loveliness. Just shine on
So we just use the vuvuzelas and the cowbells and stuff to kind of drown them out. So it just sounds like.
All right, chat. Oh fuck, man! I need to go here and start a ruckus. You know, I need to start a ruckus.
Over here. You're not hearing the murder and all of the terrible things that they say to people.
the way that this thing could continue for 49 years.
Road trip, North Carolina.
Haven't been out here to understand why we do what we do. It's just the tactics have to change based on not only the clinic itself, but the protesters. Every day, there's different groups of people, and we've got to handle them the best way we know how. Francine, after I helped you up last week, and this is how I get rewarded.
Oh, well, it's nothing personal.
Oh, it's not. It's not. I don't
There's
know.
literally these right wingers. You can be nice to them. It doesn't matter. They hate you. If you're nice to them, they just go, Satan comes in a pleasing countenance. It gets you nowhere.
I believe that.
Not personal, it's general.
Okay, general. Abortion kills children. That seems pretty personal, direct.
Laws regulate protest activity outside abortion clinics, but advocates say they don't do enough.
Good morning, sir. I just want to give you a heads up. I dug up the stake. I'm just letting you know.
All right, but just letting you know that if they cross over that, we allow you the option to take a report.
And we are going to.
Calla says the police won't charge anyone with trespassing because there's still a dispute over exactly where the property line for the clinic begins.
He said they're not going to criminally enforce anything until they get that. We can opt to have a report. We can opt to ban them, but they're not going to.
Okay, well, we'll just.
What a surprise! Are the police not arresting the right wingers? Oh, what a shock! They're not defending your property. Right wingers, see, the law protects them and binds you. It doesn't go the other way around, folks.
Today show just how much Shannon and Calla are out here fending for themselves.
Anything else you need from me?
Not right now. Anything you need from me?
Brains and
patience. Yeah.
Other than that, all right.
We asked Daniel Parks, West Coast Regional Shepherd of Love Life, what the point of being so close to the clinic is.
Can you talk to me about why Love Life bought the property right next door to this abortion clinic?
So that we can do what the Lord's called us to do in the most effective way possible. We believe that proximity is important, that the women that come here need to have someone here offering them help and hope, and the proximity to the abortion center is helpful for us to that end.
This is the land of the free, right?
Sure.
So why aren't these people free to choose to have an abortion?
I mean, they actually are. They're actually doing it right now.
Folks from Love Life make it very difficult, though. They don't make it very free because a lot of protection and security and organization has to happen in order for patients to be able to access the building.
These people out here in the vests and whatnot, with their rhetoric and with their zeal to protect abortion, are causing more issues and trauma for these women than we are.
Your presence contributes to that, though. My understanding is these people wouldn't be here if you guys weren't here.
Well, I mean, they're pro-choice. They choose to be here. I don't force anyone to be here.
No, but you're saying, like, why are these people here doing this? They're more traumatizing than what you guys are doing, but they wouldn't even be here if you weren't here.
Okay. I mean, that's their choice. But what I'm saying is, if you want me to believe that what they're doing is helping these women and it's legitimizing abortion as healthcare, I'm telling you it's not.
The pinnacle of events at Love Life happens on Saturdays when people gather to pray in front of the clinic. Although it looks very little like something peaceful or even reverent.
You are disgusting people. You are a shame on humanity.
Glory to the King! Glory to the King! Go home, your unholy white supremacy! They're using you! They're using
Tina Marshall is a volunteer who also runs the Black Abortion Defense League.
There's a lot of white folks out here telling us what to do, how to do it with our bodies. Being anti-abortion promotes the legacy of American slavery. It's forced childbirth. I can counter their beliefs of what black people are and black women are, and that you can't weaponize religion against me. You know, I don't care what they say. I really don't. I'm here to protect my people.
Hold your head up. Hold your head up. You're not doing anything wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. It's your body. You do what you want. You do what you need. It's your body. We are still free here in North Carolina. We are still free.
In the course of reporting this story, we learned that Love Life was denied a charitable license to operate in the state of North Carolina in 2021 and had never applied prior. That means they were violating charitable law for years while still collecting donations on their website.
Oh, hey.
We reached out to Mr. Reed.
Hey, Department of Justice. Hey, IRS. We have a Democratic president. Where are you at? Where are you at?
Mike, we can't enforce the laws on conservatives. That'll make them mad.
Reader several times for an interview, but he didn't respond.
Hey, Mike, we can't go after those guys.
How about we go after all your Philadelphia unions? How about we go after unions? Mike, how about we do that? Hey, Joe Biden. Hey, Joe Biden, how come the FBI, your FBI is 100% going after unions and trying to bust them every day in Philadelphia? Hey, Joe, I thought you were a union guy, bro. What's happening, man? These clinics are committing wild fraud in broad daylight, investigated and reported on by major media, and you're nowhere to be found. But you're trying to indict you're trying to catch somebody because their wife got $34,000 in unemployment benefits. Whoa, gotta make sure we catch that. Gotta go after that, man. God forbid.
Saw that he'd arrived at the lot next door during filming. We tried to ask him again to answer some of our questions.
Our audience is the church, and that's who we try to speak to, and we have different audiences.
I understand, but I am doing a story that's reporting on the relationship between Love Life and this clinic.
Right now.
Okay, I don't want to trespass, but I do want to respectfully ask for an interview. We are doing a story on this, and I just want to give you all an opportunity to respond, because that's what's fair, right?
Yeah, sure. Daniel, I believe, already spoke with you guys, correct?
He did, but you're the president and founder of Love Life. You seem like the best person to be able to respond to questions. Look,
yeah, Daniel's been involved in this ministry for a long time. He gave you guys your answer, so.
Mr. Reader, why are you still collecting charity donations when your license was denied last year? I have a copy of the document here. This is a publicly available document.
You guys can get off our property, please. This is why we don't talk to. This is why we don't do this stuff, because you guys do silly things like this.
This is from the state. This is. Have you seen this document? This is a publicly available document.
Sure. It's also publicly available that we are a 501c3.
And as a 501c3 in North Carolina, you need to register for a charity license.
I will call the cops very nicely if you don't leave our property.
I will call the cops as we violate. Do you see that? We violate all the laws constantly, but we'll call the cops to enforce it against the press? What are they going to arrest them for? You asked us questions exposing our crimes. Arrest them.
Days after we questioned Mr. Reader, Love Life submitted an application and is now currently licensed in the state of North Carolina.
God bless you guys.
Back at the clinic, the work continues to create a safe space for patients and volunteers, even on their days off.
We kind of just help do things around the clinic that they're not able to do.
I like
people that
Violet.
work here because they don't have the time or energy. Because if you're coming to work every day and being yelled at by protesters, you want to leave at the end of the day.
What does it mean to you to be out here volunteering with these folks?
We're family. And they mean the world to me. I mean, we truly are a family. It's something, especially when you've got such a difficult time dealing with the anti-7. It was great.
At a time when it remains unclear what the future of reproductive rights in America looks like, these defenders want people to know they'll be here, no matter what.
With Roe, without Roe, there will be people out here willing to protect them and shield them. And if we can get one person in and out of their appointment without receiving medical misinformation and without being shamed or harassed, it is worth hours out in the sun, hours out in the cold and the rain, all of that stuff. It's even worth our own personal trauma that we experience. No matter what, there is going to be clinic defenders outside of clinics trying to make sure that they're protected and that they're safe.
Yeah, Chad, if only we got to hear more from those people. You know, if only we heard more. So you heard the right-wingers. And what do you think? And I hate them more than I did before. I think more of them are, we need another category. Dishonest liar disagreement.
Or lower. Where should regulations be? But 50% believe, Neil, it's from misinformation. How do we get people out of their silos to listen to the other side?
Yeah, hey, John, Joe and I can help explain what's going on, but the prescriptive aspects of this are beyond our abilities. This is sobering. It is very tough data. And truthfully, I think it may have to get worse before it gets better. And this is, I mean, you read through this data, Democrats don't trust Republicans. Republicans don't trust Democrats. Democrats think Republicans are getting disinformation. Republicans think the same thing about Democrats. There's no middle ground here whatsoever. Well, the one. I mean, quoting Liz Cheney from the previous section, men are running the world, not going that well, and it's not going that well.
Joel, you get a final
word. One
thing
thing I would add, and as a former journalist myself, we have a fractionalized media environment where people can find and seek out media outlets, major ones, that they agree with. We're not having common conversations. We don't have three network anchors who are extremely respected. People are listening, reading, consuming news, whether it's on radio, television, the internet, that they agree with. And you have to know that there is an increasing number of people.
I mean, like, obviously I have a perspective here. We're not quiet about it. We are activists and commentators, and I have a political prescription, and I have all the evidence in the world for why I am right. But I do nothing but look at what the right says. It's like one of the most common things we do here is listen to them. This is just liberal gobbledygook. This is them saying a chant, marketplace of ideas, marketplace of ideas. Why can't we all get along? We'll just have a debate. It's not how it works. Power is due to interest. We have interests competing for limited resources. That is the essence of politics. Liberalism is useless.
A large number of people who are now getting their news from the internet, and they will say sites like Facebook, Instagram, those have become sources of news, which are social media. It is not filtered. It is not fact-checked. So we're in a very treacherous area here for democracy, I think. And with a cherished First Amendment, which we have to be mindful and respectful of, I think we have to also think from the media side, how can we do a better job to not partisanize the news as much as we have been?
Amen.
So actually, that's 100% wrong. What we need to do is harden the contradictions and defeat the right politically and force a massive realignment where the right wing can't act in an anti-democratic fashion and win elections or win public power, where the right can't get a disproportionate control of institutions, and 3, where the views of the people are actually what's put into policy. You want to see people care about their government? Maybe what they believe should have a chance of being policy. And we need redistribution of wealth from the rich. Political power, economic power, material. I mean, that's the shit that'll fix things, not more TV babble. My God. Amen, my asshole.
I agree with that last point. We need to listen and we need to be careful. Joel and Neil, grateful for your time. We will continue this critically important conversation. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you both, gentlemen.
Are you watching the stream unsubbed? You're making income inequality worse. You are doing anti-praxis. We are the only Twitch stream that will not accept scam advertisers, and I will never fuck you over by selling you crap.